Shalom Israel, and welcome to another edition of Yasharalah's 20-minute breakdown, where I'll attempt to break down scriptures within 20 minutes. But first and foremost, let's give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Wakar, Rakar, Kadash, and the Akims and the elders in the highways and the byways, pushing this word in truth and sincerity. All praises. And the elder women teaching the younger women, all praises to you too. And the camps, making edifying videos, edifying the body in truth and sincerity, and pushing the correct doctrine, not the ones of the Christian church, but coming straight out of the scriptures, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, giving the correct understanding. All praises to you too. Now, what I want to touch on today is the book of Second Esdras, which is I'm going to be touching on book of Second Esdras chapter 1. I'll be starting at verse 5. I'll just read verse 4 to give you, the whole picture, but verse 5 is where I'm going to start going down. And the reason why I've decided to choose that verse is because when you look at all that the Most High has done for us, our people, the blacks, the Hispanics, and the Native Americans, we have not been grateful. All we're so busy trying to do is join to our enemies. Yes, our enemies, because you've got to remember in the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, the Bible tells us clearly that we will be sold for all our mischief and our breaking of the Most High's laws, statutes and commandments, and worshipping idols. We will be sold unto our enemies. Now, this is a poster of us, when we were on the coming off the slave ships, reaching to the new worlds, and these posters go up that we were sold to our enemies. The Bible distinctively tells us the people that we were sold to are our enemies. Even in the book of Ecclesiasticus, where it even reads that, never trust thine enemy. So see, those people that we were sold to, the Bible's telling you clearly, never trust thine enemy. And then it goes on to say, as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So, when you think about it, it's so true, because look at iron. No matter how much you treat it and polish it, there's still little bits of rust turn up somewhere, laying dormant. Just the day you forget to polish that one day, boom, the rust is in your face. And the Bible tells you clearly, never trust your enemies. And remember, the Bible also told us that we were sold to our enemies. So you think about it. You have to think on these things. Who were we sold to? What did the Bible call them? Is the Bible a true book? Of course it is. Now, another thing I'm going to quickly say before I start this lesson. The book of Second Esdras, right, is in the Apocrypha, like one like this. This you can buy separately. You can go on Amazon or you can go on eBay. Now there's 14 books in here that was removed from the original Bible. 14 books that was in this, that was removed, out of this in the 18th century by the Protestants of the church. They thought it was meat to take those books out, because with those books in, you can't teach things like, like the church has this what's that one they call when they go off into the sky, and the rapture, that's the one. They teach the rapture doctrine. Now, with this in its correct place, you cannot teach the rapture doctrine, because the Apocrypha shows you there's no rapture going on. Yeah? The Apocrypha teaches you there's no rapture. Yeah? But, when you remove certain books out, you can teach certain things, because obviously, it's not going to say it anymore. Now, this one, if you are lucky to order this, which is I did, this one has the Apocrypha in the correct place. Now, one thing about the Apocrypha, like the book I'm going to start with today, is Second Esdras. In the Apocrypha, you got Second Esdras, you got First Esdras and Second Esdras. Now, the thing about Esdras, if you subscribe to the Old Testament, in the Old Testament you got Ezra, yeah. In the Old Testament, you've got the book of Ezra, which sits between Second Chronicles and Nehemiah. If you subscribe to Ezra in the Old Testament, which that's Ezra, There we go. I'll just let you see that. If you subscribe to Ezra in the Old Testament, you must, and I say you must. This is the Apocrypha where it should be. You must subscribe to the book of Esdras in the Apocrypha, because Ezra and Esdras is the same person. Esdras is just his name in Greek, but in Ezra is, how they've said it in English, but it's the same person. So like I say, like if you can't get yourself on one of these complete Bibles with the Apocrypha already in it, you can go onto eBay or Amazon, and you can get the second, just this little small book with the 14 books that was removed. I'll just give you a quick listing. There we go. I think you can see where you got the first Esdras, second Esdras, Tobit, Judith, the addition to Esther, Wisdom of Solomon. You've got the Ecclesiasticus. You've got Baruch. You've got what else is there? You've got the songs of the three holy children. You've got the of Susanna, I think that is. I could just about barely see that. The history of Susanna, Salaki, that's what I was going to say. History of Susanna. You've got Bel and the Dragon. You've got the Prayer of Manasseh, and then you've got Maccabees 1 and Maccabees 2, which is first Maccabees, second Maccabees. Listen, this book fills in a lot of the blank, places, because there are some things in here that explains in greater detail than when you have your 66 books that the church uses now, because in this book has 80 books, and the church the Bibles in the church only has 66 now. And when you read the book of Esdras in the Apocrypha, it tells you Esdras, after in the Greek captivity, if I remember correctly, when the Bible was burnt and destroyed and all that, Esdras rewrote, and by the Most High put the Spirit on Esdras to rewrite things that were before and during and to come. So he rewrote back all when that was burnt, but he rewrote about 204 books. So now Esdras in the Bible tells you clearly there are at least 204 books, and all we have today is at the most like 80, and like the church only deals with 66. They're trying to say the rest isn't, canon or whatever. But how can you think about this, how can you have an Edomite, because remember Rome was ruling, telling you in your book what you should read and what you shouldn't, what is scriptures and what isn't? How can you have people who, they were the ones who crucified the Messiah, they were the ones, who gives you all this false doctrine, but yet tell you what books that you're supposed to read and what books are not canon? And they were never given the book in the first place. So think about that, Israel. Anyway, without further ado, let's go straight into the scripture. We're going to start at 2nd Esdras chapter 1, and we're going to 5 is the point, but we're going to start at verse 4, because this is the Most High saying to Esdras to do something, and then we're going to pick it up from there, and then we're going to go through the scriptures. And you look how we have turned our back on the Most High, all he's done for us, and all we have to do is keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, and it will be well with us. That's all we had to do. Just like your dad or your mum, they give you a command, do it, and you get, when you was a child, clean up your room, you get the sweets. You don't clean up your room, not only you don't get the sweets, you get punished as well. So work it out. Anyway, let's go. Let me set my timer. Put my timer. I'm about to start. 3, 2, 1. Boom. We're away. Now, straight in there. 2nd Esdras chapter 1. I'll start at verse 4. And it reads, And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, verse 5, Go thy way and show my people their sinful deeds, and their children their wickedness, which they have done against me, that they may tell their children's children. So you see, we were supposed to teach our children's children. It's supposed to go down from generation to generation. Now, In verse 5 it says, "Go thou and show my people their sinful deeds." Who is his people? That's easy. Let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 2 verse 6, and it reads, and thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Now you know who his people is. His people is Israel. Only have been, only ever will be. Yeah, anytime you go through the Bible, totally, you'll only see it's always talking about Israel, or when the kingdom is split, then you'll be saying it says about Jews or Judah, and then you do hear about Ephraim here and there, but that's another lesson. Right, let's jump down to verse 6, and it reads, "Because the sins of their fathers are increased in them, for they have forgotten me, and have offered unto strange gods." Now you see that? He says, we've forgotten him, we've offered unto strange gods. What's he talking about? Let's go to the book of Isaiah, and we're going to go to chapter 2, verse 8. And it reads, the book of Isaiah, chapter 2, verse 8. "Their land also is full of idols. They worship the work of their own hands, that which their own fingers have made." And then it reads, verse 9, "And the mean men bow down, and the great man humbleth himself. Therefore forgive them not." That's Isaiah. Now, you see that? That's what we've been doing. We was worshipping idols, and like all these like crucifix and all these things you see around people's necks. They're idols. We're not supposed to have them. I mean, look at the crucifix even with the so-called Jesus on it. Now, we know that image that they have on the crucifix is not the image according to the scripture. And number two, now that was a method of killing our people. Now, look at the method when they used in the transatlantic slave trade. Now, they used to use a noose, a hangman's noose. Now, would you wear a hangman's noose on a chain around your neck, but yet you wear the crucifix because you think it's symbolizing that you're of Christ, of Christian? No. What it does symbolize is you are a Christian under the Roman Catholic doctrine, but not under the true doctrine of the Messiah. That's what it symbolizes, because that even the cross, that same crucifix, our people was being killed on that well before even the Messiah was. The Messiah, yes, is the most famous person to be crucified on a cross, but that was the way the Romans was killing our people even before they crucified the Messiah, the one who is known as Christ. Okay, let's move on. Verse 7 of 2nd Esdras chapter 1, verse 7. And it reads, Am not I even he that brought them out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage? But they provoked me unto wrath, and despised my counsel. Now, what's he talking about? Let's go to the book of Exodus, chapter 20 and 2. Exodus chapter 20 and verse 2. Listen to this. And it says, I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house out of bondage. And it goes on to say, verse 3, Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Verse 4, Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters under the earth. Verse 5, Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I am the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So you see that? Most High saying, if you're doing all these things, you hate him. There's no two ways about it. That is clear. Now, let's jump down back to 2nd Ezra chapter 1. We're going to go to verse 8. And it reads, Pull thou off then the hair of thy head, and cast all evil upon them, for they have not been obedient unto my law, but it is a rebellious people. Verse 9, How long shall I forbear them, into whom I have done so much good? You see that now? The Most High is telling Ezra now because this was the way we used to lament and mourn. He'd pull off the hairs of his head and pluck out his beard, and he would put on sackcloths and he'll mourn. That was the way back then how we used to mourn. Yeah, and the Most High is showing you clearly, like he all this he's done for us, and all we had to do was be obedient to his laws. But he says, but we're a rebellious people, and he's asking, how long should he forbear us? Yeah, in the people he's done so much good for. Now let's see what he's talking about. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 26. Now listen to this. Watch this. Leviticus 26 verse 28, and it reads, then I will walk contrary unto you also in 20, I will read 28. Yeah, it reads this. Yeah, actually I'll start at 27. Leviticus 26 verse 27, and it reads, and if ye will not for all this hearken unto me, but walk contrary unto me, then I will walk contrary unto you also in fury, and even I, will chastise you 7 times for your sins. They see that? So this is why we're in the condition we are today, because we walk contrary to the Most High. So he's chastising us for our sins, meaning sins. Remember First John 3:4, sin is the transgression of the law. That's what sin is. So now this is why you see when you go in the ghettos and all that. I mean, when you look at it, this is like modern day slavery. Back in slavery, we were slaves and we were being beaten and whipped and everything. And even what they used to do, they used to get the strongest and the biggest black guy, and to put fear in the other slaves when they took them, to show them that they must obey their slave masters. They used to get 4 horses, and they'll tie one arm to one horse, one arm to the other, one leg to one horse, one leg to the other, and they'll make the horses run in separate, in different directions. So you got, your limbs tied to 4 horses, and the horses run in different directions, and they'll make sure the women, the children, and the other slaves see what happened to this slave they all looked up to. So this will keep you in check. These are certain things they were doing: castrating, buggering, raping, you name it, it's been done. Right, let's move on. Now, let's jump down to verse 13 now, 2nd Esdras chapter 1, verse 13. And it reads, it says, I led you through the sea, and in the beginning gave you a large and safe passage. I gave you Moses for a leader and Aaron for a priest. Now remember, he gave Moses, so Moses to show signs to Pharaoh and everything, and Aaron as a priest, so we can, anytime we went off a bit, we would go to Aaron, and Aaron would make supplication, to the Most High for us. Now, watch this now. Let's hear this, a bit more of this. Let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 29. Right, this is the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 29. And it reads, by faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Egyptians, essaying to do, were drowned. So you see, that's how he dealt with us. So you see that he said, now he's showing us that even all this he done, he dried up the sea so we can pass through. And then the Egyptians tried to pass through the same way we did, but they were drowned. So you see the favor he has on us, but yet we still despise his counsel, which is his laws, statutes, and commandments. Now, let's jump down to verse 15 of the same chapter now, back to 2nd Esdras chapter 1, verse 15. Actually, let's start at 14. Actually, let's go 14 down. Listen to this. And it reads, I gave you light in a pillar of fire, and great wonders have I done among you. Yet have ye forgotten me, saith the Lord. Verse 15. And then it reads, thus saith the Almighty Lord, the quails were as a token to you. I gave you tents for your safeguard. Nevertheless, ye murmured there. So you see, he gave us a cloud like in the day and a pillar of fire by night to lead us. Yeah, gave us tents to sleep in. He even gave us quail, and we murmured still. Let's read about that part with the quail. Look at this now. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 105. Listen to this. Chapter 105, book of Psalms, chapter 105, and we go to verse 40. And it reads, listen to this. The people asked, and he brought quails and satisfied them with the bread of heaven. So you see that? So so what can we say? We murmured and he gave us food. Yeah, we complain. He's done so much for us, and the only thanks we give him is constantly murmuring and turning our back on the law, statutes, and commandments. Now listen to this. Let's jump down to verse 17 of Second Esdras chapter 1. Back to Second Esdras, verse 17, and then it reads this. Yeah, where are the benefits that I have done for you? So you see, the Most High is asking, where are the benefits I've done for you? All this I've done for you. You see, just what I was saying. All this I've done for you. And where are the benefits? Let's read on. Yeah, where are the benefits that I have done for you? When ye were hungry and thirsty in the wilderness, did ye not cry unto me? Verse 18, saying, why hast thou brought us into this wilderness to kill us? It had been better for us to have served the Egyptians than to die in this wilderness. Yeah? And then it reads let's actually read verse 19 as well. Then it reads, then had I pity upon your mornings. Yeah, then I had pity upon your mornings and gave you manna to eat. So ye ate, so you did eat angels' bread. Now you see that? So let's even go into that quickly, what he's talking about. And then he said about the rock first. So after you moaned, he said, let's still in Psalms 105, Psalms chapter 105, let's read verse 41. He said, he opened the rock and the waters gushed out. They ran in a dry place like a river. Do you see that? So all that, and let's even get that further. Let's go to the book of Exodus actually. let's read that account as well in the wilderness in Exodus 16. Watch this. We're going to Exodus 16 chapter 3 and 4. Exodus chapter 16 verse 3 and 4. Listen to this. And the children of Israel said unto them, which is Aaron and Moses, would to God we had died by the hands of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full. For ye have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill the whole assembly with hunger. Verse 4. Then said the Lord unto Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or not. So you see, all this he done. So after they murmured, he gave them what they asked for to prove, okay, will they, So, and then, we had a cheek. He came out, they was in heavy bondage in Egypt. Now they're in the wilderness and they're complaining now, oh, like they want to go back to Egypt. So we're always happy being under somebody, being fed by somebody. Why can't we feed ourselves, trust in the Most High, serve him? He'll put us back in a high position above everybody, as it says in Deuteronomy 7 verse 6, and we'll be leaders, kings and priests, and ruling the earth, and righteousness will abide back in the earth. But no, we always want to be under people, eating their scraps, basically. Now, let's move on. Let's jump down to verse 20. All time is running up fast. Verse 20, back to 2nd Esdras chapter 1, verse 20. And it reads, when ye were thirsty, did I not cleave the rock, and waters flowed out to your fill? For the heat I covered you with the leaves. So you see, that was the rock. Now let's quickly, 17. Let's go back to Exodus 17, verse 6. Now listen to this. Behold, I will stand before thee there upon the rock of Horeb, and there shall smite the rock, and there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. So you see, even that, water gushed out the rock. So we murmured again, and he made Moses strike the rock, and water gushed out. Every time we murmured, he gave in to us. But to what thanks? To what thanks, I ask you, Israel? Now, let's back to 2nd Esdras chapter 1 and verses 21. And it reads, I divided among you a fruitful land, and I cast out the Canaanites and Perizzites and Philistines before you. What shall I yet do more for you, saith the Lord? So you see, he done all this. What more can he do for us? What's he talking about? Let's go to the book of Numbers, chapter 26. Let's read that account. Numbers chapter 26, verse 55. Now listen to this. Book of Numbers chapter 26 verse 55. It says, notwithstanding the land shall be divided by lot according to the names of the tribes of their fathers shall inherit. So you see, he took their land and he divided it amongst us, as an inheritance. See, he did all that for us. We couldn't drive out them nations. He drove them out for us. Yeah. Okay, with that said, let's jump down back to 2nd Esdras chapter 1, and we go to verse 22 now. And it reads, Thus saith the Almighty Lord, when ye were in the wilderness, in the river of the Amorites, being athirst and blaspheme my name. Verse 23. I gave you not fire for your blasphemies, but cast a tree in the water and made the river sweet. You hear that? So we all blaspheme, complaining and cursing, and he didn't kill us. He could have easily, but what he done? He cast the tree in the water and made it sweet. Now, what's that talking about? Let's go to the book of Exodus. We'll find that out too. Exodus chapter 15, verse 25. Chapter 15, verse 25. And it reads, well, I'm running out of time. I better get a move on. And it reads, and he cried unto the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree, which when he had cast into the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he proved them. You see, all this he done. Now let's quickly jump down to verse 25 of 2nd Esdras chapter 1, back to 2nd Esdras. Then it says, seeing ye have forsaken me, I will forsake you also. When ye desire me to be gracious unto you, I shall have no mercy upon you. Now let's see that quickly. Let's go to the book of John chapter 9 verse 31. And it reads, quickly let's move on, and it reads, now we knoweth that God heareth not sinners, but if any man be a worshipper of God, and doeth his will, him he heareth. So you see, now God doesn't hear the prayer of sinners, but if you're doing his will, then he hears you, and he will maintain your cause. Now, quickly, I've jumped back down to 2nd Esdras chapter 1, verse 26, and it reads, whenever so ye shall call upon me, I will not hear you, for ye have defiled your hands with blood, and your feet are swift to commit manslaughter. And then to verse 27, ye have not as it were forsaken me, but your own selves, saith the Lord. How have we forsaken our own self? Quite simply, time is running up. Leviticus 19, quickly, verse 17. Remember, it said that we are quick to shed blood of our own people. Listen to this. This is Leviticus 19, verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him, not suffering to break the God's laws. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. I'm going to have to stop it there. One more verse I want to quickly get in is the last verse, which is Isaiah chapter 55, verse 7. And it reads, I've got 30 seconds to do it, and it reads, now listen to this. Isaiah chapter 55 verse 7, let the wicked forsake his ways, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto the Lord, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon. So you see, we return to him, he will have mercy on us and pardon us. With that, this is Yasharallah signing out. Thanks for listening. As always, we out.